Hey everyone, Christian here, and I'm going to be doing a reviewing of this palm here, and that's going to be Acoelorraphe wrightii, otherwise known as the Perotis or Everglades palm. Now, this palm is native to southern Florida and Cuba, and when I go and I drive through, the Everglades, usually on 41 heading between Naples and Miami, and Route 29 heading north from 41 towards Alligator Alley, you can see these actually in habitat. That's where they really grow, kind of in the southwestern Everglades, just east of Naples and Fort Myers. And they're not easy to see by the side of the road, but if you know where you're looking, then you will see them. And in Cuba, there's actually a bluer version of this palm, and I believe it does grow also in Florida, but I haven't seen it in habitat. So the blue version is kind of just more like a blue green. It isn't like a blue like Bismarck blue, but it does have some blue coloring that is distinct from the typical green. This is a really nice specimen of Acoelorraphe wrightii. It has, the sort of half dozen to dozen trunks up top, and then it has about 50 to 100 clumps down below that kind of create this kind of saw palmetto look up top, and then a bunch of trunks that it's almost like a palmate version of Phoenix reclinata, but not nearly as invasive, and it's actually a native of Florida, so I enjoy it very much. And it's actually in seed as well, so those will be ripe a little bit later towards the early fall. And so, like I said, this is native to southern Florida, northern Caribbean, mostly just Cuba. There might be a few other islands it's native to, but I'm not entirely sure. And these are really closely related to stuff like the Serenoa sable, for obvious reasons. It has the palmate leaves, it has the same style flower bracts, and in Serenoa it looks kind of like a Serenoa clump down below. And it really is a great palm for basically all of peninsular Florida. It's just a really nice specimen plant, especially for for areas that require cold hardy palms. So areas like even up to Gainesville can really grow these really without much trouble. They handle a frost probably every year where they are in habitat, because it does get chilly out there in the Everglades. When you're not by the coast, the temperature will drop at night, and it will get down to 0 Celsius or 32 Fahrenheit. And as a result, these are quite cold hardy. The reason they probably haven't come north naturally is that they kind of like these swampy conditions and tend to grow best in them and germinate very well. There's kind of a inability for it to kind of head north when there's a lack of swamp for it to continue to grow into. So they've kind of hung out in South Florida, and like I said, into the northern Caribbean for centuries. And now they're in landscaping throughout Florida and other areas, and these will probably do well in most Mediterranean climates. I don't see a lot of them pictured in LA or in Europe, but I don't see why this wouldn't do as well as any Phoenix in the area. It might be slightly cold tender to some of the cooler Mediterranean climates, but otherwise should be fine. So I would imagine these can handle down to about, I'd say, 20 Fahrenheit before they get any real burning going on. I haven't really noticed. I've never seen any of these die from cold where they were planted, and even all the way up into places like Gainesville. So Gainesville is an 8B climate. So I imagine it's hardy throughout all of Zone 9 and into 8B as well. So if you look at the flowers here, they're now seeds. They're nearly mature. They're green. They kind of turn kind of like a yellowish color before dropping. Sometimes they'll just turn brown or like an orange, and they're turning a little bit, but they'll start to turn over in the next month or so. And you can see the seed bracts look very similar to that palmetto right there. And if you can see it, I don't know if you can see that, but they're a little bit darker in color, but the shape is similar. Coming out, it's interfoliar, meaning it's coming out of the foliage. So like almost all sables, it has that it does that. So the trunks are actually quite thin and kind of look like reclinata trunks with their thin color. Hopefully there's no large animals in the. That's one downside, is that you will get like decent sized animals that will hang out in here. And just be careful when you approach a clump of palms where you can't see what's going on, especially in just like areas that are not properly manicured. So you can see here, it kind of holds its old leaf bases The really old ones will actually take these, these will fall off on, kind of like with sables, but it takes a long time. So you can see this fiber that kind of grows throughout the base of the petiole, and this will hold for quite some time. And the crowns, there's everything kind of about this plant is a little bit wispy. You can see that the trunk is kind of, dainty. The crown is kind of wispy. It is compact, but there's nothing that really screams like, large, or, just makes a big presence by each trunk. But as a whole, it is quite a presence. So if you kind of just back up and look at it, here, let's kind of slowly walk backwards, not stepping any fire ant hills. And you can see as a whole, especially with some of the outer ones kind of growing outward towards the sun, they kind of make quite a presence. But each little trunk is kind of a little more of like a bamboo would be. You're not going to be amazed by one single comb of bamboo, but the whole clump together is quite amazing. So, these definitely prefer full sun, and they germinate pretty easily. The seed's going to be about the size of a palmetto seed, and it's going to germinate just like a palmetto seed in a lot of water, a lot of heat, and they'll take full sun from a seedling. You can give it a little bit of shade at first, because they're growing through the grasses that would naturally be growing there. But if you don't have any shade, then this is one of those palms you can kind of just throw out in the sun from the beginning. So that's going to be about it for Acoelorraphe wrightii. Like I said, there is a blue version. It's not really a distinct, they call it, the silver Perotis, but it's, it kind of seems like a slight variation. It's really not a real distinct one you're going to find. I mean, I've seen people selling it, but I haven't seen a palm grow out and say, okay, yeah, that's definitely a silver Perotis, because it seems to kind of go away with age. So I wouldn't pay a premium for that. I mean, maybe a slight premium if I really thought this, there was a special one, but I really just don't think that's, going to be a very strong attribute of any of these, specimens. So anyway, I'll leave that there. I hope you guys enjoyed the vlog. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel and want to see more palm vlogs and palm reviews, go ahead and subscribe, hit that bell notification, as I do go live quite often. And if you have any questions about Perotis or Acoelorraphe wrightii, as it is scientifically known, leave them down below. I'll get back to your questions as soon as I can. And thanks for watching.